So good afternoon or good evening, depending on where you are. And welcome to Eye on Africa. My name is Awasar. I'm Assistant Director for Academic Affairs at the African Studies Center at Michigan State University. And Eye on Africa is our weekly seminary series. And we're very happy today to have Dr. Ababakar Saddiq as our guest speaker. But I'm going to give the privilege of introduce him, my colleague here at Michigan State University, Dr. Leo Murembea, who is in the economics department and who suggested that we invite Dr. Gay as our guest speaker. So Dr. Murembea, I'll pass it on to you to tell us a little bit about our guest speaker today. Thank you.
Muted. I was muted, sorry. Thank you, Dr. Sar. Hi, everyone. So today's webinar is titled Price Dynamics in Food Value Chains, Evidence from the Onion Market in Senegal. It is the fruit of a collaborative project between MSU and UCAD's, the Université Cheikh Anta Diop, École Supérieure d'Économie Appliquée, and we had seed money from the Alliance for African Partnership, AAP. So I would like to introduce today's presenter, Dr. Ababakar Saddiq Gay. I met Dr. Gay this summer during the study, and not only he showed he was a very intelligent person, hardworking researcher, but he's very humble and welcoming. So during our stay, for example, in Dakar, he took the time to drive us around the city, which for those of you who have been in Dakar could be a full-time job. Right? On its own, okay? But jokes aside, Dr. Gay is an assistant professor of economics and statistics at the University of Cheikh Anta Diop of Dakar. His research interests include education, labor market, food security, social protection, migration, poverty, and inequality. He's very passionate about using data, and we've seen that during our research because he did almost everything. Impact evaluations and applied statistics to conduct dialogue and formulate public policy recommendations for governments and public decision makers. He's currently working as a consultant with the World Bank in the design, monitoring, and evaluation of employment and social protection policies in West Africa. So Dr. Gay received a PhD in development economics from CERDI, Centre d'études et de recherche sur le développement international in France. He has a bachelor's degree in statistics from the Ecole Nationale de la Statistique et de l'analyse économique in Dakar. So he's the person, he's the man today to talk about what we did and the results and the possible extensions of our study, depending on, of course, resources and funds, okay? Dr. Gay?
Yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Thank you a lot, Leo, for this presentation. Many thanks also to our for organizing this webinar. I'm happy to be invited and to have this opportunity to present this research. So this collaborative research between Michigan State University and the University Cheikh Anta Diop of Dakar. and particularly the the research team is within the École Supérieure d'Économie Appliquée, or in English, Graduate School of Applied Economics. And this is a joint work. So with colleagues from MSU, Leo and Michael, and also colleagues from UCAD, Mayra Diop, Mamadou Mustafa Ka, and Mohamed Alaya. Mohamed Alaya is from University of Chess, NCS. So as Leo has already said, the presentation today is about price dynamics in food value chains and evidence from the onion market in Senegal. So this presentation is about first results. So just preliminary results. So this is the first time we show. So we have conducted a survey some months ago in Senegal, and it is the first time we show and we present the first results from the survey. So I will talk about that later. Yes, so the outline, so it is a standard outline, so I will skip that. Agriculture in Africa faces many challenges, as many of us, as we know. So rapid urbanization, land degradation, climate shocks, and also lack of equipment and skills, and so on. And on the other hand, Africa also experiences very fast demographic growth, with its population will reach 2.5 billion by 2050. So almost doubling its current size from now. And the consequences of that are about food insecurity risk and meeting the food demand. So we as researchers and practitioners, we have to find solutions not only to address those challenges, but also to provide evidence and recommendations on how to better exploit the agricultural potential of the continent and how to harness the power of food value chains in Africa in order to create wealth, high quality jobs, and food security. So in this paper, we will focus on the onion value chain in Senegal with 3 objectives. The first one is to document the price dynamics across the value chain, to analyze the challenges faced by producers and traders, and finally to analyze women integration in this value chain. And so the first question you can ask is why onion? Onion is the most consumed vegetable in Senegal, and it is the case in many countries. And onion is widely used in many Senegalese meals. Onion is also an interesting case study because it is a large market. Onion has a large in agricultural production in Senegal, and also the market is atypical in the sense that the local production should be enough for the local demand, but large quantities of onions are imported. And also there is a price volatility, which leads the government and policymakers to regulate the quantities and prices of onion to protect both producers and consumers. So we have so this is why this is what motivates this research project to work on the onion market in Senegal. And as you already said, it is a partnership between MSU and UCAD. So this is a pilot research project, including initial stage partnership, training workshops for students, and also so training workshops on data collection platform, Survey City. And the students have conducted this small survey on the onion value chains. So this is this partnership is in line with the pedagogical approach of our school, ENSAE, which organize each year compulsory group internships for its students. So every year, our students go on the ground, mainly in rural areas, and they conduct data collection and after economic analysis, and they draft reports. So it is in this framework that this research partnership took place. Yes, and as I already said, this is just first results, mainly descriptive results from this rapid survey conducted in August 2023 among onions producers and traders in Senegal. Okay, so I will present Senegal for those who don't know this country very well. So Senegal is a developing country classified as a lower middle income country by the World Bank. So with the World Bank classification, and the annual GDP per capita of Senegal is about $1,600. Senegal is the fourth largest economy in West Africa after Nigeria, Cote d'Ivoire, and Ghana. So as a developing country, Senegal is facing many challenges, especially in human development. So Senegal is ranked 168 out of 189 countries on the Human Development Index. The poverty rate is about 38%, and every year 17% of households suffer from food insecurity. The structure of the economy, of the Senegalese economy, is heavily based on agriculture and services. The industrial sector is weak, and in general, productivity is low, and one of the main challenges is about finding good quality jobs and economic opportunities for youth. And this is explained also why youth immigration is widespread in Senegal, and this immigration is often illegal. This immigration is often, yes, illegal. So Senegal is recognized for its democratic stability in the sub-region. But maybe as you may know, the past 3 years, the past 3 years experienced, many political tensions. So, for example, in 2023, the president, President Barrow, was elected. And the past 3 years experienced, many political tensions. So, the past 3 years experienced, many political tensions. So, the past 3 years experienced, many political tensions. So, the past 3 years experienced, many political tensions. and this also has negative consequences on the economy. Yes. So Senegal has a new president, as you may know also, who took office only two weeks ago. And this is you know, so this president inspires a lot of hope among the population, and especially among the youth. And one of the electoral campaign promise of this president, I think that it is useful to highlight it here in this topic, is that so this president now has promised to allocate 10% of the national budget to agriculture in accordance with the recommendation of the African Union. So in his project, in his campaign program, there is a lot of increasing agricultural budget and increasing investment in agriculture. Yes, so this campaign promised because the share of the share of spending allocated to agriculture at this time is estimated at 8%. So this is below the target set in the Maputo Declaration. So the Senegalese agriculture is characterized by its low productivity. So the value added of agriculture contributes to 11% of the GDP, while 45% of households are agricultural households. So this shows the low productivity of this sector, and this is the case also for many African countries. Senegalese agriculture is also vulnerable to climate change due to a high dependence on rainfall and soil degradation. There is also a large potential of the agricultural sector, which is not sufficiently exploited. So this is a graph to compare Senegal and other sub-Saharan Africa in terms of employment, in terms of value added of agriculture. So we can see in Senegal, as in other African countries, the share of employment in agriculture is decreasing. And it is decreasing a lot. It is decreasing faster in Senegal. And the share of agriculture in the GDP in Senegal is comparable to other African countries. So a bit lower, but comparable. So seeing this graph, we can conclude that the agricultural sector is more productive, we can say, since 2015, because yes, we have this decrease of employment and a slight increase of the share of the value added. But this apparent increase in productivity is mainly due to public investment in some agricultural infrastructure, but land productivity has not increased in this period. And one main issue also of the agricultural sector in Senegal is that there is wide inequality, because 62% of food producers are poor, and large producers capture a large proportion of input subsidies. So this is a real issue, and the question is whether agricultural policies are pro-poor. And now talking on the onion market. So as I already said, onion is one of the world's best-selling vegetables. The onion production in Africa is rising a lot. In West Africa, there are many large producers, and the largest producers are Nigeria, Niger, Burkina Faso, and Senegal. But only Niger and Burkina Faso can meet their national demand. So the biggest producer, Nigeria, is a net importer of onions, which means that its local production cannot meet its local demand. Yes. So in Senegal, onion production is about 100,000 tons in 2020, and with a significant growth in the past decade. And this is due also to increasing public investment in agriculture and in onion production specifically. So the first fact is that onion production in Senegal can cover the domestic demand, but Senegal is importing a lot, nearly 140,000 tons of onions per year. And why? I will try to explain this further. I was saying that the onion market is a bit atypical in Senegal because production can meet the local demand, but there is large quantities are imported, and also Senegal export small quantities of onions in neighboring countries. Yes, but these exportations are small. So talking now on the value chain, onion production is mainly concentrated in two areas. What we call the Niayes zone is in the coastal strip from Dakar to Saint-Louis. So this is in the western part of Senegal. And the second production zone is the Senegal River Valley, so in the north. And also other parts of the country are also cultivating onions, but on a small scale. There are mainly two cropping seasons a year, with a peak market period between March and July. Yes. So this is mainly for the west, the production area in the west. But the north has only one cropping season a year, and this is maybe due to the high temperatures in the north. I can say it now. This survey, this study is only about the western production zone, which is the main production zone in Senegal. So this is the value chain. The onions are mainly produced in the west and in the north, and after harvesting, sorting, cleaning, and drying, onions are packaged in bags or nets, and then transported for sale in local and national markets. And after that, large traders buy in bulk, and they sell to retailers, who in turn sell to consumers. Yes, of course, consumers can also buy from large traders. So the onion market is facing recurrent price collapse at harvest peak, and several problems of post-harvest losses. So this explains the large price volatility of onions, and this explains also the large quantities of onions which are imported. And also consumers tend to prefer the imported onion because of the poor quality of some locally produced onions. And this poor quality is due to the fact that some producers harvest early the onion. They don't wait the normal development period of the onion in order to buy with higher prices. And the fact to harvest early negatively impact the quality of onions. Yeah, so I will go quickly on that. So as said previously, there are policies to stabilize the onion prices. So this is a graph from Baborska. Labels are in French, so I just took it from this paper, and we can just see that the price of producers in yellow is lower than the price of large traders, and also the price of in green we have the price of onions at the borders without taxes, and you can see that this price is comparable, with the price of the imported onions. So this raises the question of the competitiveness of the local produced onion. Yes. So the government has tariff and non-tariff measures to protect the onion sector. And the objective of the government is twofold. So first, to ensure that the domestic production is sold and that the market is sufficiently supplied all year round to avoid large variation in the prices. So non-tariff measures include a period of freeze of imports. So when local production is commercialized, importations are stopped. And also when local production is run out, the government allow for the imports of onion, but with limited quantities to avoid that when the local production is commercialized again, to be in competition with the imported onion. And yes, the taxes applied to onions are very large, very high, about 65% of the onion CIF value. Okay, so we talk now on the data. Data was collected during the first 2 weeks of August 2023, in 2 survey zones. So the first survey zone is Nyai, so the western part of the country, and this is the main production zone in Senegal. And data were collected in the municipality of Potou, home to one of the country's largest onion markets, and also in Lompoul and Thiep. So this is always the Lompoul and Thiep are also municipalities in this zone, in this western zone. So in this zone, both farmers and traders were surveyed. And the second survey zone is about different markets in urban areas, including the capital, Dakar, and also other urban market as Thiaroye, Rufisque, Thiès, Mbour, Kaolack. And in those markets, only traders are surveyed. Best effort is made to obtain representative data from each market and each zone. Traders and farmers were randomly selected from a systematic sampling method. The sample includes 8,013 individuals surveyed in total, including 430 in the production area so in the Nyai, and 383 in urban markets. The sample, the sample includes 43%. So 43% of the sample are producers, and 57% of the sample are traders. And also 60% of respondents are women. So about the methodology, this presentation focus in comparing the prices and the challenges following the three categories. So across the onion value chain. So we have three categories. The first one is the producers. So the beginning of the value chain. The second one is, the second category is the traders in production area. And the third category is about traders in urban markets. So the final step on the value chain. So this categorization enables us to analyze price trends and also the main challenges from production to commercialization in urban areas. So this is, as I said previously, today I will present mainly descriptive results and also basic OLS, ordinary less squares, so basic regressions to analyze the gender gap in sales price and in revenues across the value chain. Yes, and this remark of standard errors were classified as a geographical level. Yes. So now on the results. So I will start with the trends, the price trends across the value chain, and here we compare. So we see first how the price evolves during the year. So here, for this data, we have collected prices from September 2022 to August 2023. And here we can just see, for the three categories: producers, traders in production area, and traders in urban markets. Prices. Today we can remark first that there is high price volatility. This is the price of a kilogram of onion in local currency. So in the franc CFA. So the prices are lower between you can say December to May, to April, May, and the prices are higher when the local production is run out. So from September to October, and also from July to August. Yes. So when between October and February, local production is run out, but large quantities are imported, as I said previously, and this explains why the price is low at this time. Yes, and when we have local peak of production, so between March and June, the price is also low. And here, I will try to compare the onion price across the value chain. And you can see that, as expected, prices are lower at the producer level. So the selling price of the producer is lower than the selling price of traders in production area, which is lower to the traders, to the selling price of traders in urban markets. So for example, the price the selling price for producers is about 476 CFA. This is about, I don't know, maybe 0.8 or 0.7 dollar. So the selling price increased to 16% from producers, traders in production area, and to 29% from traders in production area to traders in urban markets. And the overall increase is about 15%. So between the beginning and the end of the value chain, the onion price increased by 15%. Yes. So now we just show results about the main challenges across the value chain. So first, for producers, the main challenges are about conservation issues, lack of large equipment, and lack of land. Conservation is a big issue in the onion value chain. This explains why we have a large period of shortage, typically between August. So between August and February, only the imported onion is consumed. That is because the large quantities produced by local producers cannot be conserved for a long time. So conservation issues are the main challenge for producers. The figure is almost the same between men and women. And after we have the lack of large equipment, and after the lack of land. And for the lack of land, we see that women declare, they declare more to have this difficulty than men. So 43% of women say that lack of land is one of the main difficulties, compared to only 26% of men. So this is an issue that we know in Senegal and in other African countries. Women have difficulties to access to land. So this is not. So the title is wrong. It is in this graph. This is the difficulties for traders in the production area. So the beginning of the value chain is producers, and after we study the challenges for traders in the production zone. And for these traders, the main difficulty is about shortage of onions. So at certain times of the year. Also conservation issues and excessive price variations. Yes. And we can see that men report a lot having conservation issues compared to women, and this can be explained that because that men are large traders, they have large revenues, and so conservation is a bigger issue for them compared to women. And yes, as we can expect, price variation is reported a lot from the respondents. And here we study the challenges of traders in urban markets. And here the main challenge is excessive price variation, and the share is notable, is large. So 86% of men and 88% of women in the urban market say that excessive price variation is one of the main difficulties. So this, this suggests that having this policy regulation on prices is really needed in Senegal. And now we will study the gender gap on onion selling price, and this is something that surprised us in this survey. We can see in general that women sell at a lower price than men. So this is surprising for us. So this gender gap is higher among the producers. So among the producers, this gender gap is about 17.4%. So this gender gap is lower for traders, both in production area and in urban market. But still, we see that even for traders, women sell at lower price than men. So this result leads us to go further and to do some regression, some econometric regression, controlling for other factors, to see whether this result, this gender gap always hold. So this is why we have done this regression, controlling for many characteristics. I'm sorry here, the table may be not very clear. So this is the only table in which I will show all control variables. So we have controlled for education. So first, the dependent variable here is the average price over the year. And we would like to see the impact of gender, right? And we have done 3 regressions for producers, traders in production area, and traders in urban markets. And we have controlled for education, the fact of going to Quranic school or not, age, and also some variables reflecting the connectivity. So having a mobile money account, having a social network account, using the social network to get information on the onion price, or using phone to get information on the onion price. So these are the controlled variables in this regression. And as you can see, the main result here is that this gender gap we have seen in the descriptive statistics hold even after controlling for all these factors. So we can see that here, even after controlling women, the selling price of women is 100 CFA lower than the selling price of men. Right? This is about 25 to 30% gap. And the gender gap is lower for the 2 other categories, for traders, but the effect is significant, always significant, suggesting that even after controlling for all these factors, women sell at a lower price than men. Just checking the time. Yes, I think I need to go faster. So here we study the gender gap, not on the price, on the onion price, but on the revenues, you know. And here we don't have a gender gap. The gender gap is not significant, though it is significant only for the traders in urban markets. So for these traders, male have higher revenues than women, and this is after controlling for all the variables we have just seen in the previous table. So apparently, no big gender gap in the revenues after controlling for these factors. And here we are trying to see whether the selling price, has an impact on the revenues. And we have used interaction regression. We have interacted gender and this average price to see, whether we can see an effect of the selling price and the revenues. And so for men, there is no effect of the selling price on the revenues, but we can see an effect for women producers, not for traders, where here the selling price had a positive impact on revenues. And this can be expected because the result here is when women sell with higher price, this directly impact their revenues, and we don't see this effect for male producers. And again, we have controlled for all the factors here. So I will conclude now. So for the main result here, so the results, as you can see, are mainly descriptive, but we can have interesting insights to go further. So the first result, we see that producers and small traders in the union value chain face significant challenges, including difficulties in onion conservation, lack of agricultural equipment, and price instability. We have also shown that prices rise sharply between the production zones and urban markets, hampering the sector's competitiveness. Women, this is mainly the main result of this research. Women, in particular the female producers, sell at lower prices compared to men, and this has a negative impact on their revenues. For the perspectives, this analysis will be deepened using the composition methods and also efficiency analysis. So we are aware that the sample is not very large. So maybe in future research, we can focus on increasing the sample size, but also extending the analysis to other market garden products, such as potatoes, which are widely grown in this area, so in the land. And one topic in which we are really interested is to explore the link between the performance of the agricultural sector and illegal migration to Europe, which is widespread in the study area. Yes, so this is what I had to present today. I will be happy to receive, to have feedback on this, to have insights, questions, and so on. And maybe I can let the floor, I don't know, I will give the floor to Awa, maybe. So thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Dr. Gay, for this presentation. And now if you have questions, you can either write them in the Q&A section, or you can raise your hand and be allowed to ask your question directly. So Leo, I don't know if you have commented before that, or we can wait for questions. I guess while we wait, one question that comes to my mind is, have you tried to explore why is it that women tend to sell lower than men?
Yes, this is a question in which we don't have a clear answer on that. But maybe one reason is that, I don't know, women, we can see in the data they are less connected. They have, so they use they don't use their phone or the networks to have information on the prices. This can be one explanation. But in general, women are lower producers or lower trader than are are smaller producer compared to men. They have so let's see, their land is smaller and their production is also lower than men. And I don't know, maybe this can be linked, this can be related to the fact that they sell with lower prices. But yes, I think this is the biggest question here, and we have to we have to dig further to have a clear answer on that.
Thank you. Leo, I think you can go ahead. You can unmute yourself and talk.
Sure. So yeah, so that's a good question. And that's really we are trying to look for other fundings to really dig into that question and even look at how we can increase that or reduce that gap by using technology, right? So one of the issues is if women had more access to technology to increase their networking about prices, would they increase their margin of profit? And so, a study of a few months that we did, and with a couple of markets and areas is not going to answer that question clearly until we have a full survey and study on that. So I don't know if it's clearer or confusing. And I believe Michael is also here as one of the partners, so he can speak if he wants to. So, I mean, Michael or Abishi.
Yeah, he has some comments.
Oh, okay.
So I think if you want to read them, it's so one of them is we can explore the reasons behind the gender price further given research funds for such an effort. And I think he commends you, Dr. Gay, for your presentation in English because he said your native language is French. I don't think that's your native language, but anyway, you did very well. I don't think we had any problem understanding you or anything. So yeah.
Thank you.
So any other questions from the audience? Okay, let's see. Let's allow. Is it? Where is it? So Mayoro, you can unmute and ask your question.
No, good morning, everybody. I don't have a question, just some contribution. In the question, why women sell lower than men? We can say women sell at a lower price because they have to cover certain family expenses. Their income is often to use it to finance day-to-day expenses first, and second argumentation for to explain this situation is being part of economic development groups also make it easy for them to take a network and to sell their production. It is some argument, some element to explain why women sell lower than men. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Another question that I have is, what is the government doing to help onion producers with conservation? Because that seems to be a big problem. And it seems if that problem was solved, maybe there would be less importation of onion.
Yes, very good question. I think maybe this is the main issue of you know, this is the main barrier of not satisfying the local demand of onions, because as we show, the local production of onions should be sufficient for the local demand, but quantities are imported. I think mainly because of these conservation issues. Yes, the government is spending a share of its budget to encourage or to find equipment for onion conservation, but this is not enough. This is not sufficient for now, and we can say that those equipment can be expensive and not easy. I don't know. It is not easily accessible for the small producers or the small traders. But I think if we can have one main recommendation from this study is to improve, is to invest a lot on conservation equipment.
Omeza, you can unmute and ask your question.
Okay, thank you very much for this presentation. Yeah, so the question I have is, for example, for this research, have you considered using tools like agent-based modeling? What I mean by agent-based modeling is just modeling this problem like maybe each individual are like agents, and they have like set of rules they follow, and doing some simulation with it, because this kind of ties in to some kinds of things, modeling that is done in maybe social sciences, and lately maybe natural sciences and maybe artificial intelligence. I'm not sure if it's something maybe you've come across or you've thought about, or that's what my question is.
Mm-hmm. Yes, great. So this is a good suggestion. This is well noted. Yes, I'm not very familiar of this agent-based modeling. Okay. Maybe I don't know, Leo and Michael will have some insights on this. But yes, I agree on the fact that doing some simulations can be helpful here. So first, because I don't know if this is possible, or if this is adequate or appropriate for simulations, but since our sample is not very large, okay, maybe it is difficult sometimes to see impact okay, of what we want to capture, and doing some simulations may be more insightful on that. But yes, I see that Michael has raised his hand.
Okay, thank you.
You can unmute Mike and speak.
Thank you. Thank you, Abubakar. Omeza, thanks for that question. It's an interesting one. We did not use agent-based modeling. I guess people tend to call it ABM.
Yes.
For a variety of reasons, just principally being that there's two very small and precise questions that we wanted to answer.
Okay.
That frankly, agent-based modeling was too complex for.
Okay.
And those two precise questions and answers are, if you follow the value chain, how do prices move? And the second one is, within that value chain, do you see prices being different between subgroups like men and women? Larger questions, which I think we touched on lately, but which are not our main questions, like how do prices fluctuate during the year? What are the dynamics that shape whether, in the season, off season, or in growing season, prices move a particular way? Might be amenable to having a model where we simulate what happens to production, what happens to prices in the markets, access to markets and such. But we don't have either the resources or the scale data to execute that. So I guess this is me saying thank you for suggesting it. And obviously it's in a particular context very useful.
Okay.
And then yeah, thank you. That's it.
Thank you.
We have one question from Mariama. Great presentation, Dr. Gay. You mentioned that you control for access to cell phone in the information. Do women have different access to information? And are you considering an intervention where you would improve their knowledge of market prices of onion?
Yeah, yes, thank you, Mariama, for this question. Yes, in the data, we see large gaps on access to information, or access to, it's not access to cell phone, but you can see that women have less access, for example, to mobile money, and they use less their phone or some social network to have access to information and prices. So we can see large gaps on it. And maybe what is a bit surprising is that when we do a regression, we don't see a direct effect. We don't see an effect of using cell phone or social network on the price. And I don't know, maybe we have to dig further on that, but we would expect that traders or producers we have some, I don't know, some WhatsApp groups or something like that. They can be aware of the prices and maybe sell with higher price. But in the data, this is not the case, and we don't know why. But yes, if we can, maybe it is simply that our sample is not large. But yes, if it is the case, if access to information, access to cell phone has a direct impact on the selling price, of course, having this kind of intervention to improve women knowledge to market prices will be very useful. Yes, I agree with that.
Yeah, to add to that, one of the option that we were thinking about, and the whole thing depends, of course, on availability of funds and resources, is to consider a randomized controlled trial to see if a group of women had more access to information, and we have all kinds of things that some of our partners, like Michael, have been doing in other countries. Mm-hmm. Would that have any significant impact on how they do business, how they, their bottom line on profit? And so it's one thing that we are considering, but again, it all depends on, do we have enough funding to do this? do we understand? So we want to understand first this market on a full scale, not just a few areas of Senegal. And once we have that and we understand also the population that is involved, we will be able to do what you are thinking about. And maybe you can be one of part of the team. Who knows? Just joking. Anyway, that's my 2 cents.
Yes, and I just see the comment by Mariama about interacting, yes, access to social network and gender. Yes, this is something we can try. Thank you for that.
Yeah, and we have a comment, I think, about Africa in general and investment on agribusiness. I don't know if you have anything to add, something to say about that.
Yes, I'm not an expert on agribusiness, but yes, sure. I think this is an area where we should invest more. And yes, I agree that the challenges of Africa is, as we have said in the motivation of the paper, how Africa can feed itself. So for this, we need to support small producers, family farmers, and so on, but also to develop agribusiness, supporting maybe large companies and all the categories in the value chain. Yes. I don't know if colleagues want to speak on that.
No, I think you got it right. Unless the person who made the comment is not satisfied, we can talk a little bit more. But the whole things, for example, the storage issues and that kind of stuff is part of that. Agribusiness is not just transformation, it's also storage, it's also more production, more use of machinery, all that kind of stuff. And so, and we agree that it needs to be really thought of, and hopefully with this research we're gonna come up with good policies to advise, as you say, governments and the policymakers in this, at least in this area of onion production and commercialization. So, yeah.
But just to add one comment quickly, I don't know in other countries, other African countries, but in Senegal there is a sense, there is a feeling that some large producers, or I don't know if it is, we can speak about agribusiness, but this sense is that large producers they benefit more from the government support, and maybe here there is a need to focus more on small farmers who are poorer, to help them to increase their production, then help them to transform, help them with transportation issues, conservation, and so on. This is just I think a common feeling in Senegal. This inequality between large and small producers.
Any other questions or comments? Yeah, just because I knew about this, maybe you don't have questions, but I'm just wondering, some months ago, I think, and I believe this was the first time in Senegal, there was a huge shortage of onion. And I think for the first time, people were talking about the bag of onion reaching 50,000 CFA, which is unheard of. So was this just a one-time thing? What happened specifically? What brought, you might not know this, but I'm just wondering if you have any insights on what happened, because that was on the news for a long period of time, because as you said in the summary of the talk, you cannot talk about Senegalese cuisine without talking about onions. So when the bags cost 50,000 CFA, that's a big deal. So what happened there?
Yeah, yes, very nice, nice comment. I told colleagues here that we were lucky to study onion prices in these periods, because those periods, it's past August and July and August 2023 were really specific on the on the high price of onions, and we this survey was conducted at this time, so we were lucky to to have collected data on these high onion prices. And I don't know, there is an I think there are many factors explaining this huge increase of the onion price, but I think typically it is because the local production was not enough this time, was not enough, and the government has stopped imports of onion. So they could not allow imports. They cannot quickly allow for imports, and we had a lot of a long period of time in which Senegal experienced big deficit of onion in the market, and this explains this high price. But I don't know. Maybe on the future the government will learn from this experience, and to better regulate about the when the importation should be allowed to avoid this kind of deficit.
So if we don't have any more questions or comments, we'll thank Dr. Gay for a very interesting presentation. Thank you. And let me see, it seems there is one. In Nigeria, the prices of onion also, depending on current supply, it's never stable. Yeah, so that's a comment from Arinola. Seems the same happening. Yeah. So yeah, it does happen in Senegal, but this was just unheard of. It was just the first time that it was there was such a big jump in the price. But as you said, that we need to look into the regulations maybe. So as I was saying, thank you very much, Dr. Gay, for coming and presenting your research. Thank you to Dr. Murambea and Olabasi also for their comment and answering questions. And we thank the audience for coming and asking questions. This is the last Eye on Africa of the semester and of the year. So we will see you next fall. Wishing everybody a wonderful summer. Thank you, Dr. Gay, and everybody.
Thank you, Awa. Thank you all for your attention, for the feedbacks, and so on. Thanks a lot.